It was a quiet night in the small town of Millfield. The stars twinkled in the sky, and the moon cast a pale glow over the houses and streets. Mary, a young woman, was driving home from her night shift at the gas station. She was exhausted and eager to get home and crawl into bed. As she turned onto her street, she noticed something strange in the sky. At first, she thought it was a shooting star, but it was too big and bright to be one. Suddenly, her car's engine sputtered and died. She pulled over to the side of the road and tried to start the engine again, but it wouldn't start. She reached for her phone to call for help, but it was dead. Mary was alone and stranded. That's when she saw the ship. It was massive, hovering above the tree line. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. The ship's lights flickered, and Mary felt a strange sense of dread wash over her. As Mary was pulled into the alien ship, she tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed up by the strange noises around her. She was surrounded by a bright light that seemed to enter her body and probe her mind. She felt as if she were being dissected by the creatures, and she was completely powerless to stop them. Suddenly, the experiment stopped, and Mary was lowered back down to the ground. She was disoriented and terrified, but she tried to regain her senses and get back to her car. As she stumbled toward the vehicle, she saw the aliens for the first time. They were tall, with thin, spindly arms and legs. Their skin was a sickly shade of green, and their eyes were huge, black, and soulless. They had no hair, and their heads were disproportionately large compared to their bodies. Mary could feel their eyes on her as they watched her every move. As she reached her car, Mary noticed that everything was different. The trees, the sky, even the air itself seemed to have changed. She felt as if she were in another world, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was about to happen. Suddenly, the aliens appeared in front of her, blocking her way to the car. Mary tried to run, but one of the creatures grabbed her by the arm and pulled her back. She felt a surge of fear and pain as the alien examined her once again. The creatures communicated with each other in a language Mary didn't understand, and she felt as if they were discussing her fate. She knew that she was at their mercy, and there was nothing she could do to escape. The aliens took Mary to a large chamber, where she was strapped down to a cold metal table. They performed all kinds of terrifying experiments on her, probing her mind and body in ways that she couldn't even begin to comprehend. Mary lost track of time as the experiments continued, and she felt as if she were slowly losing her mind. She screamed and begged for them to stop, but the aliens were relentless. They seemed to take pleasure in her suffering, and Mary knew that she would never be the same person again. Eventually, Mary was released, and she stumbled out of the ship, weak and traumatized. She fell to the ground and watched as the ship disappeared into the night sky, leaving her alone and broken. Mary never forgot what had happened to her that night, and she knew that she would never be able to escape the horror she had experienced. She knew that the aliens were out there, watching and waiting, and that they could strike again at any moment.